Okay, hello everyone. Personally, I just wanted to thank you for joining me on this little walkthrough of my artist narrative. I shamelessly put my Instagram handle for my art and photography account if you would like to follow and see more of my work. Um, on this first slide, this is me in preschool, just looking and feeling very proud of the artwork that I had made. And I think I wanted to put this in the beginning because I think art has always been the modality and just interest in my life that I felt the most pride for. So these are my preferred uses of visual arts. They're not in any particular order. But basically, what visual arts looks like for me is drawing, collage, photography, and then I also just put in aesthetics. Aesthetics to me kind of looks like I grew up on Tumblr, and I think I was going through a lot during my adolescence, and finding aesthetic bits and pieces of my life really helped keep me present, grateful, finding beauty during times that were really hard. And it also kind of helped me remain inspired, but also to actualize these hopes and dreams that I had of like a future version of myself and the life that I wanted to create for myself. So this is my childhood slide. Um, in the top left, that is me, probably about 3 years old. I was pretty much always drawing, is what my family tells me. My grandmother and my mother like often supplied art supplies for me, and it was something I just really enjoyed. The next three images is really a representation of me processing some significant life events. My grandparents moved when I was pretty young, and this was kind of just an example of me processing what that was like. Art was kind of a way for me to remain connected to them as well. And yeah, I just, like I said, I always enjoyed the visual arts. So this slide is images I made from middle school to like the beginning of high school. I wrote for this slide that I feel like this was really when I began to sort of explore themes of identity through art. I also used art as a way to regulate myself pretty often. This tree image in the top middle here kind of goes to show that I used a lot of line work, which I realize now as an adult was really a meditative practice for me. I think it took a lot of pressure off of me because I didn't, excuse me, I didn't feel super confident in my drawing abilities. But on the left here, this was an art class that I took in high school. Actually, all these bottom three photos are from art classes in high school. And this was really when I started to lean into my artist identity. It wasn't until high school where I really felt like adults in my life were really seeing me as an artist. Thank God for the art teachers that I have because I think they really encouraged me to keep going. And on the right here is a the first time my art was ever showcased. This was in our public library, but it meant the world to me. It really did. And you can totally see the Tumblr influences in that photo. But again, it just goes to show that, during times in my life that felt really hard, I really leaned into finding these quiet moments that felt aesthetic and beautiful to me. And I was eager to share them, to honestly, most of the time, to connect with others. So this is sort of images from the second half of my time in high school. I took a ceramics class that was very impactful for me. That photo in the bottom middle here, the two pieces on the right are created by me. The little blue vase is not my work. Um, but the blue piece with the spirals, the coil pot, that was actually the first time I ever had my work showcased. In more of like a typical gallery setting. I was like specifically chosen to be have my work showcased at a local community college, and that also was a huge moment of pride for me. I really think that helped solidify my identity. At this time, I was very lucky enough to acquire a digital camera as well as a film camera from my grandfather that was passed down to me. And this really opened a huge world for me. I had a lot of anxiety and depression in high school, and I think photography was not only a way for me to, again, find these sort of glimmers in my life, but to also, continue curating the kind of life I wanted to live and embody. And it also was a way for me to connect with my peers. I really strengthened a lot of friendships through photography. In this bottom left photo is some friends during theater club for one of our final shows. And then on the right here are some photos of my best friend where this was just the beginning of me feeling extremely proud of film photography and just really starting to gain a passion for it. So this is some work that I did in undergraduate school. This is really big for me. This is like when I actually started to consider myself a photographer. And I took two digital photography classes at Lesley, where I was studying expressive arts therapy as an undergraduate student. And I learned so much in these classes. And I think this is really when I began to try and dive deeper into the meaning of my artistic practice. I wrote down that especially on the right side of the screen, those images were really important to me in coming to terms with my queer identity and, living in a city for the first time and feeling safe enough to really express and explore those aspects of myself. Um, Again, you can see me sort of connecting with the people around me. People were a big subject for me. On the top left, I also just wanted to note that that was a self-portrait that I had taken. And again, this also meant so much to me because I felt like I was really able to curate and reflect an image of myself that I felt really connected to, which was very important for me because for a long time, and honestly still, I struggle with themes of identity. So yeah, there's also you'll kind of begin to see like an air of escapism for me in these parts of my life. Um, Being at home was always a little tricky for me for various reasons, and these were just moments for me to enjoy my life and to kind of fantasize and create these worlds that I just really wanted to live in. So these were another two projects that I did in undergraduate school. This is about the second half. On the left here, this drawing was inspired by it was a dream that I had actually. And in one of my expressive arts classes, we were asked to draw about a dream. And this is what I created, and I was really excited about that. And then on the right here was my capstone project for Lesley. Um, that project was a huge moment of challenge and triumph for me. I had always been really interested in film and using videography. And I finally was able to do that. And then I also accompanied that project with my vessel, which you see on the left podium. Um, that was also used in the performance art piece. And this was a huge moment for me for working through insecurities, particularly around sharing my art, and like my innermost feelings. And I think this project really inspired me to continue pursuing expressive arts, just because it was so impactful for me and my relationships, and my relationship to art. So now this is my present work, just a little bit. On the right, you can see that I'm definitely still pursuing photography. I would say it's my chosen modality, particularly film photography. I like sort of the removed nature of the product. I think it really emphasizes the process. Um, and then on the left here are just some drawings that I did using watercolor brush pens. These were both exploring themes of spirituality. Actually, the top left image was used, that pigment is from elderberries. I did a herbal listening workshop in Western Mass, and we got to pick elderberries and learn about some of their spiritual significance, and then to make a artistic response. Um, and that was what I made. And yeah, I think it rings true that I'm like, what I find very valuable in the arts is world building and being able to envision a better future for ourselves, for the world, processing what's happening in our lives, making meaning of what's happening in our lives, and, expressing our identity. These were all themes for me and a big reason as to why I'm in this program. So, yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for sitting here with me and listening to me. I really enjoyed watching the rest of the class's artistic narratives. So, yeah, feel free to reach out if you have any questions. I really look forward to seeing your responses. So, thank you. Bye-bye.